Hey everyone, I'm going to share the American Dream lesson with you right now and give you some quick instructions. First of all, the American Dream lesson folder should be one where you can see your progress. And there should end up being little check marks when you've completed part of this folder. And then at the end, it should be marked as complete. So just note that you have 4 steps in here. So the first step is some pre-reading questions. It asks you a little bit about this term, the American Dream. If you really don't know what the American Dream phrase might mean, try just doing a quick Google search and answering those questions. The step 2 is this American Dream article. Open it up, read the article, mark the text according to the instructions, and then at the end, there's going to be a 3, 2, 1 activity. And I'll show you that actually in the next article, which is going to be pretty similar, but it's asking you for 3 facts, 2 reactions, and 1 question you have. The third one is another article, and I'm actually going to be reading this article to you during this video. So you may want to come back to that when you go back to the reading of it when you get to this article, because I would be reading this article to my students in class. It's a little bit more difficult of an article. And then step 4 is going to be this philosophical chairs, which I'll explain in a minute here. So the first 2 hopefully are pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, please email me if you have any questions or come to office hours. But I'm going to open up this step 3, the idea of America. And you'll notice it asks you to open it with Kami. You're going to open it with Kami. And you are going to see a link to the article online. But I have a shortened version of the article right here for you that is already numbered with paragraphs. So as I read, you're going to underline the lines, sentences, or phrases that are interesting or feel important to you. So once again, if you would like to listen to me read it and do the marking of the text as you hear me read it, you can always come back to this point of the video. And then at the end, you're going to complete the 3, 2, 1. And so it's 3 facts from the article, 2 reactions that you had, and please write these in full sentences, and 1 question that you still have, okay? So right now, I'm going to read the article to you. So once again, this part of the video, maybe you want to come back to when you're actually doing the assignment. You may not want to listen to my entire reading of this right now, but just know that this is housed within this video. All right, here we go. The Idea of America by Nicole Hannah-Jones. My dad always flew an American flag in our front yard. The blue paint of our 2-story house was perennially chipping. The fence, or the rail by the stairs, or the front door existed in a perpetual state of disrepair. But that flag always flew pristine. Our corner lot, which had been redlined by the federal government, was along the river that divided the black side from the white side of our Iowa town. At the edge of our lawn, high on an aluminum pole, soared the flag, which my dad would replace as soon as it showed the slightest tatter. So when I was young, that flag outside our home never made sense to me. How could this black man, having seen firsthand the way his country abused Black Americans, how it refused to treat us as full citizens, proudly fly its banner? I didn't understand his patriotism. It deeply embarrassed me. I had been taught in school, through cultural osmosis, that the flag wasn't really ours, that our history as a people began with enslavement, and that we had contributed little to this great nation. It seemed that the closest thing Black Americans could have to cultural pride was to be found in our vague connection to Africa, a place where we had never been. That my dad felt so much honor in being an American felt like the marker of his degradation, his acceptance of our subordination. Like most young people, I thought I understood so much, when in fact I understood so little. My father knew exactly what he was doing when he raised that flag. He knew that our people's contribution to building the richest and most powerful nation in the world was indelible, that the United States simply would not exist without us. In August 1619, just 12 years after the English settled Jamestown, Virginia, 1 year before the Puritans landed at Plymouth Rock, and some 157 years before the English colonists even decided they wanted to form their own country, the Jamestown colonists brought 20 to 30 enslaved Africans bought 20 to 30 enslaved Africans from English pirates. The pirates had stole them from the Portuguese slave ship that had forcibly taken them from what is now the country of Angola. Those men and women who came ashore on that August day were the beginning of American slavery. They were among the 12.5 million Africans who would be kidnapped from their homes and brought in chains across the Atlantic Ocean in the largest forced migration in human history until the Second World War. Almost 2 million did not survive the grueling journey, known as the Middle Passage. Before the abolishment of the international slave trade, 400,000 enslaved Africans would be sold into America. Those individuals and their descendants transformed the land to which they'd been brought into some of the most successful colonies in the British Empire. Through backbreaking labor, they cleared the land across the Southeast. They taught the colonists to grow rice. They grew and picked cotton that at the height of slavery was the nation's most valuable commodity, accounting for half of all American exports and 66% of the world's supply. They built the plantations of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, sprawling properties that today attract thousands of visitors from across the globe captivated by the history of the world's greatest democracy. They laid the foundations of the White House and the Capitol, even placing with their unfree hands the Statue of Liberty atop the Capitol dome. They lugged the heavy wooden tracks of the railroads that crisscrossed the South and that helped take the cotton they picked to the northern textile mills, fueling the Industrial Revolution. They built vast fortunes for white people, North and South. At one time, the second richest man in the nation was a Rhode Island slave trader. Profits from Black people's stolen labor helped the young nation pay off its war debts and finance some of the most prestigious universities. It was the relentless buying, selling, insuring, and financing of their bodies and their products of their labor that made Wall Street a thriving banking, insurance, and trading sector, and New York City the financial capital of the world. But it would be historically inaccurate to reduce the contributions of Black people to the vast material wealth created by our bondage. Black Americans have been and continue to be foundational to the idea of American freedom. More than any other group in this country's history, we have served generation after generation in an overlooked but vital role. It is we who have been the perfecters of this democracy. The United States is a nation founded on both an ideal and a lie. Our Declaration of Independence, signed on July 4th, 1776, proclaims that, quote, all men are created equal and, quote, endowed by their creators with certain unalienable rights. But the white man who drafted those words did not believe them to be true for the hundreds of thousands of Black people in their midst. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness did not apply to fully 1/5 of the country. Yet despite being violently denied the freedom and justice promised to all, Black Americans believed fervently in the American creed. Through centuries of Black resistance and protest, we have helped the country live up to its founding ideals. And not only for ourselves. Black rights struggles paved the way for every other rights struggle, including women's and gay rights, immigrant and disability rights. Without the idealistic, strenuous, and patriotic efforts of Black Americans, our democracy today would most likely look very different. It might not be democracy at all. My father knew it would take me years to understand, that in the year 1619, that the year 1619 is as important to the American story as 1776. That Black Americans, as much as those men cast in alabaster in the nation's capital, are this nation's true founding fathers, that no people has a greater claim to the flag than us. So you're going to read that or reread it. You are going to underline the lines, sentences, or phrases that are interesting or feel important to you, and you are going to do the 3, 2, 1 at the end. Then the next step of the folder, last step of the folder, will be this philosophical chairs activity. When you load it, it should bring you to a Pear Deck. You'll see that here. And you're going to go through and you're going to do this on your own. Mine goes back. So you're going to go back to the beginning. You're going to go through the slides, answer the questions on each slide. The odd number slides like this one are going to ask you to drag this triangle. So you're going to read the statement in the middle. The American dream is something that everyone can achieve. If you agree with that, you're going to put it over here. If you strongly agree, you're going to put it over here. Disagree, strongly disagree. Okay, so you're going to do that. Then you're going to restate if you agree or disagree with the previous statement and why you agree or disagree. So you could say, I agreed with the previous statement because ... And you're going to go on. There's another statement here. You're going to continue that on. Okay, and then you are going to complete that. And that's the last step of this American Dream lesson plan. All right, good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.